Well, Pat, from banking to transportation to communications, major industries are connected by the internet. That technology can pose a grave threat to our national security. In an exclusive interview with the Energy Secretary, he tells CBN's Jenna Browder some of the best minds in America are working to protect America against cyber attacks.
There's perhaps no more serious threat to the United States than a crippling cyber attack on the country's power grid. Just ask Secretary of Energy Rick Perry. It's what he says he and his department are largely focused on. How vulnerable is the United States power grid from a major cyber attack?
It's of great concern because we're not where we were 10 years ago. This is a completely different world we live in from the standpoint of how it's interconnected.
Perry says one factor is old infrastructure, and it's not actually all bad.
So in one way, that kind of protects it because you got some old technology in there, some old analog equipment. On the other hand, all the digital, the new types of technology that's there is vulnerable to a cyber attack.
Another factor.
The Russians have some thuggish behavior. There's not any doubt about that.
Russia and other countries like Iran, North Korea, and China looking to infiltrate everything from our power plants to elections. In the case of Russia.
So I think we're finding the right balance between if you cannot be a citizen of the world and act in an appropriate way, there's going to be some real punishments. But if you do, then we can find some ways to work together, to trade together, to help each other.
When it comes to North Korea, how much of a role is the Department of Energy playing in talks with Kim Jong-un and in denuclearization?
I think the president is spot on. I think he's very courageous to step forward and carry on these conversations and carry on this dialogue.
And if the administration can achieve that goal, Perry says the Department of Energy will play a key role because of its technical expertise.
If the president and Secretary Pompeo and others are successful in getting North Korea to agree to denuclearize, the Department of Energy will play a substantial role in the verification side of it, of the deconstructing of any of the weapons, and then the decommissioning and disposal of as well.
If there's a silver lining to the threat our power grid faces, Secretary Perry says it's this.
We're vulnerable, but every place in the world is vulnerable. The good news is that our national labs, some of the smartest men and women in the world, are working on ways to defend, working on ways to both defensively and offensively deal with these individuals who would attack our grid.
In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.